Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Or should I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, furries and skeletons alike, welcome back to the Bone Pod Podcast. We took a bit of a break because,
Shenanigans, Mario movie, different universes. We have to kind of keep things stable. And I feel like I should never see how a dry bone is ever made again.
all of you are very creative. Unfortunately, all of your AUs need to be managed. So, but we're back. Now, let's wrap up our thoughts about Velma.
I know we did a little bit of mentioning on it in our last bit, but there's a lot of ways we could fix Velma. And if we had to do something which we dubbed as keep the bones, which is keeping the bare basics of it, meaning if you've seen the Velma show or listened to plenty of reviews, we aren't judging, you would know there is a mystery for Velma's mother. Daphne's trying to figure out her actual parents. Fred has parent issues himself, and Norville is kind of the only one who's somewhat likable halfway through. He becomes unlikable, then back to likable. Weird.
I'm not sure myself why they even went that route. It's like they gave him character growth and then didn't, and then they gave him a girlfriend and then they didn't. Although I will say, highlight of the show is when the girlfriend just said, "Oh, okay, one of us has to die," and immediately chooses Velma. Like no hesitation. It was just like, okay, Velma's got to go.
I mean, that makes sense when you've kind of been mean throughout the whole entire series. She has no likable qualities, even if you remove all, like, actors, celebrities from it. When you actually view it, there is no quality to the character, unless you just like a character complaining. Okay? It can be good, but you need a character to balance it. Like how many shows have duos or quads or trips or whatever to counterbalance when you got the Scrooge.
Yep, if you got the Scrooge, you need a goofball. If you got the straight man, you've got to have the funny man. And if you've got the serious, I'm going to go on adventures and not laugh at anything, you need the soft, squishy one that's just like, here's a Band-Aid.
Look at this place filled with all this wonder. Eh.
But keeping the bones of the Velma show, there's a number of ways that you can rewrite this and still tie it back to actually the Scooby-Doo IP.
And heck, if you still have to keep Scooby out of it, here's a fun nod I thought about. Show Velma and Norville being good friends, and he has a little dog plushie in his room. That's it. That's a good nod, a nice nod.
Or if we want to take another route, Scooby just dies. Like, he has his collar there. It's just like, oh, I had a dog.
It's just framed.
Yeah. So, how much of the rewrite are we doing?
I say a good challenge is to keep the bone, so the mother still, spoilers if you actually care to see the show, but the mother's still hypnotized and doing the murders, which is tied to Fred's mother being the mastermind, even though there's no hint to it, which is also tied to Daphne's folks somehow being criminals. And yes, we probably have to keep the will they, won't they in the romance department.
All right. So, I guess follow-up question is, Wolfie, do you want to take the reins on this rewrite?
I could do a few bits, so I got mine's ready.
Then by all means. Welcome, everyone, to the segment we call AU Rewrite.
So, first off and foremost, friendships need to be established, and reasoning against friendships or breakups in the friendship department has to be. Number one, if you want Velma and Norville to be friends, she can't keep awkwardly using him. That is not a friend. So how do we start this? Immediately, we're going to pull out the heartstrings by just having it be Velma kind of getting bullied and Shags slash Norv slash... I'm going to be calling him Shaggy because that's what I'm used to.
You have been dubbed Shaggy.
So Shaggy basically sees that as like, hey, we're outcasts. Why are you upset? Let's be friends. But she cries, she complains about like her mom went missing. The police ain't doing anything about it. And they're also keeping her old best friend, Daphne, away from her. Because we're going to find out the big mystery is that we're keeping the fact Velma's mother's a writer, but she's been borrowing some cases to help flesh out her story, which is making her a target. Because if you write your stories too close to real life, they start knocking on your door. Fun.
Especially if you take some creative liberties and end up accidentally guessing things about the case.
Or, they'll be like, hey, this is a 30-year-old murder. You're 25. What do you know? How did this happen, sir? Are you the son of the killer? Or good guardian of the killer?
I want my lawyer.
But that's how we start off with, and Velma isn't super thrilled with the idea of getting a new friend right away. And it's this fun little thing of, all right, what do I have to do so that we could be friends? I don't know, try to get me to laugh. Proceeds to tell the worst joke ever, but it works. And now we do our opening where it's just, hey, I'm a big fan of these openings where on the walls or different things we see the characters grow up through it because it gives us a hint of what happens, gives you a little bit of room to make your own crazy stories, but still says they're good. So we get to see different things that they did, work together with, and become closer friends. Because if you're gonna make them minorities stick together. I don't care whoever says they don't, they do. They have their own weird way about it, but we do.
Yeah, we coexist. Somehow we managed to do that.
Shocking.
Yeah, and for some odd reason in a lot of media, it's not portrayed that way, which is weird. It doesn't make sense to me.
So, we see that Velma drive herself deep into the mystery because she is convinced that her mother's still around. They never found the body, and as her logic is, if there is no body, there is no death.
Just like Game of Thrones.
So, she and Shaggy are basically small-time detectives. They do small fix-around problems and detective problems that they're known in the school, but they're also viewed as the weird ghost hunter kids. And thus we kind of find out that through that, Daphne and Fred are the popular group. Because they kind of lead the charge of the teasing. Which we clearly get a hint that, Fred and Shaggy had an old history too. We won't know what that old history is, but Shags know how to get under Fred's skin way too easily. Just a little bit. And as we go through the mysteries of the different girls who are disappearing, we get to learn more about those cases and what connected. Because we are going to keep the fact that there is a killer on the loose, but that killer's actually been going for years, so the town's kind of just, this is another Tuesday. It's just kind of weird that now the bodies are showing up around our four main protagonists' houses. Because now it's like, okay, this is weird. So now they're all kind of involved in the case. And obviously the cop moms are just like, well, we know our daughter didn't do it because we literally put a tracking device on you. Why? For reasons. So, as they go through, we learn a little bit from the case. They learn a bit from each other. We realize that the reason Velma and Daphne has all this fight is because one believed they had abandoned the other is like, no, you abandoned me. No, I was literally unable to see you because your moms kept blocking the way. And it's just kind of this weird little hint of just, okay, that's dumb. Why is your mom's preventing me from doing that? Also find out, that's also weird because mom's kind of planning to date Fred, who is the son of an good doctor. Because now we're putting in his mom. It makes sense that she was kind of just there and shoved a lot into the last bit. So to build it up, you gotta mention, well, that's what happens when you have someone who's literally the son of a doctor and a son of someone who just sells you items. You want the money. They want me to get a good life. But I want to know who is my actual birth parents and why they gave me up. So there's a whole entire conspiracy ring that the cops are keeping secret, obviously. Which gets them into more trouble because they gotta search in forbidden areas, old police records, and all that, and they're not supposed to be in there because they don't have clearance. They end up figuring out and that they're like, okay, it's something with the Jones family. Also, bonus, Fred is just the golden retriever of the group because we're not gonna have Shags having Scoobs. We gotta have the golden retriever. So he basically doesn't experience outside world a lot without his 3 very high maintenance butlers keeping him on watch. So the fact that they managed to somehow get rid of those 3, suspiciously around the time that murders are happening, connection point.
Coincidence? I think not.
Which then boils to the climax of we are in the Jones mansion. We are confronting the mother who does hypnosis. And we find out that the 3 butlers that have been following Fred and doing all that are actually the former parents. So Velma's mother and Daphne's original parents
Dun, dun, dun.
are mind controlled and suited up to be butlers. And I'm talking about they do the whole like face wigs and everything, like mask and all that, so we can get the dramatic ripping the flesh off. What?
That's spooky.
It's Scooby freaking Doo. It gotta be spooky. Or as they are going to be, it's Velma, and we're going to do all these well-animated panic attacks. By the way, we're cutting out the panic attacks. She just loves mysteries so much that it causes a problem. That's it.
Or, you know, she's just one of a typical set of women that fall asleep to murder documentaries.
Yep. Also make her likable.
Yes, please make her likable. So, Woofy,
Yes.
do you think I should give my full rewrite or no?
Go on.
Okay. Now, buckle in, folks, because mine's a little bit longer. So, you have been warned. There is no time skip.
I mean, this one is the writer, so good luck.
You have been warned. Alright, so, first thing I'm doing is I am making Velma and Norville. Like, I'm assuming I have to keep everything the same rules, can't use certain characters, and this is less about the IP, more just making the show. So, first thing we're gonna do is I am making Velma and Norville friends. Like, they are friends. For those of you that can remember this, think Jeremy and Michael. We are. They are friends.
If you're a little confused, that's from Be More Chill musical version.
Yes, we're not talking about the book. I know about the book.
It's a 2-player game, after all.
Fun fact for those that don't know, the voice actor that is actually voicing the book is the same actor that was set to play Lex Luthor. Yeah.
So now there's a verse where Lex Luthor's just
Is
casually...
the squip. Is the squip. And I love it. I love thinking about that one.
He made it to figure out the secrets of super.
Yeah, he did, because that sounds like something he would do.
Your story.
Right.
Your rewrite, sir.
Let me just get comfortable. Because like I said, you're in for a long one. So I gotta be comfortable while I recount the tale. So, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so Norville and Velma are friends. Like, they go way back. And the show will actually start off with Velma actually trying drugs for the first time, thanks to Norville. And I originally had this set out where a character who we're not naming Shaggy, but is very much Shaggy. I am talking design wise, he's got the hair for it. He is Norville's dad. Because just because I can't use the IP doesn't mean I'm not going to tie it back to the original IP. Because I'm a big fan of, like, they really could have just made this show just the origin story. I mean, I think it would have worked. So,
It's supposed to be an origin story, but they're not good at it.
no. It was never meant to be an origin story. Never. All right, so now a heads up for anyone listening. If you are not a fan of crack fix and or wild shipping, and I mean wild shipping, go away. This is not the place for you.
Bye.
Okay, are they gone?
Maybe.
Okay.
There's always a couple of stragglers who decide to defy. Hi. We
Go
might
on.
need you later.
Go. All right, cool. Now that the non-cool people are here,
They gotta come back.
as I put my 8-bit shades on. All right, so Velma tries drugs for the very first time thanks for Norville. I am going to make it very clear that Norville and Velma do have some tension between them as far as, like, are they going to hook up? Aren't they? It's something that I will drag out for the rest of the series, but not too far. It's not going to be the big finale. So, as they go along and Velma is trying this for the first time, she has her own experience. She's like, wow, this is crazy. I never thought I would, like, feel this way. And she kind of panics when Norville's dad comes down, and she immediately, because she's on a beanbag at this point, she is full vibing out, and she panics because she's like, oh my god, I'm down here, I'm doing drugs, this looks so bad. And he's just there like, howdy son, howdy dad, did you finish your homework? Yep. Good. Hey Velma. And just walks away, and she looks at Norville like, is your dad, like, angry or something? Nah, as long as I keep my grades up and keep my responsibilities in check, I can do whatever I want down here.
Freedom Cave.
To which Velma starts thinking about how she doesn't have a freedom cave, and is like, well, I kind of want the freedom cave now.
Yeah.
So they will have a conversation. Now, I do apologize for giving you guys the cliff notes, but if I gave you, like, line by line of what I written, we'd have to change the name of the episode. But as they talk more, we find out that Velma is not on the best of terms with Daphne. And it's due to the fact that when Daphne got popular, she just up and left. She really didn't care much about Velma.
Are we doing literally like the Veronica Heathers bit?
Yes, we are.
Aw.
Life can be beautiful, and she chose to be beautiful.
Can you tell we enjoy our musicals?
Yeah, don't worry. We'll have a whole episode devoted to just musicals.
Especially the combination ones.
I'm currently in the middle of my Greatest Showman fix right now, so I'll let you all have fun with that. So, the running joke with Norville and Velma is that when Norville tries to talk to Velma in order to help her cope with it, he can't say the word Daphne because Velma just starts getting really, really mad. So he pulls Voldemort, and it's just like, God, it's she who shall not be named.
The redhead that shall not be named.
Yes. So the kicking off point of this is, as they're talking, Velma decides, you know what? That's it. I am going to confront her about what she did to me, and we are going to have that conversation whether she wants to or not. And Norville's like, yeah, I'll support you. More power to you. And she turns around and says, you have to do the same too. To which he's like, confused, going, I don't know what you mean. What are you talking about? This is where we find out that Norville and Fred are not on the best of terms. And this is a little tidbit here. It's because they're exes.
They were exes.
Yes.
So much for roommates.
So Norville immediately is just like, I don't think this is a good plan anymore. I think we should change tactics. And she's like, nope. If I'm going to grow, so are you.
Character growth for everyone.
So they go and they confront their respective people. And this is where we find out that Velma did not really understand what Daphne was doing. Daphne was trying to fill her need for attention, something that Velma herself didn't really realize that she was lacking. So this is something that during the course of their argument does slip out. And Norville, when confronting Freddy, I'm not going to have him be the stereotypical jock either.
He's going to have a heart.
He's not only going to have a heart, his problem with Norville is that Norville is smart. Like, smart. And he spends his time getting high in his basement. And something that Fred points out to him, of just like, that's why we don't hang out, because I upgraded and you did not. To which Norville jabs at him, saying, well, Freddy, some of us like classic. To which, yes, I'm going to bring back a line from a certain Scooby-Doo of, only people I'm dating can call me Freddy. To which Norville will continue to call him Freddy.
By the way, that line is never
Acknowledged.
again. Mm-hmm. And I love that joke, because that is such a... Wait a second, what?
Yep.
I miss jokes like that.
So, as tensions are getting high, we hear a scream coming from down the hall. This is where someone discovers, dun dun da, a dead body. So, immediately everything halts. The story and even the art style would kind of take a shift here, where I would actually like the lines being a little harsher and it looking a little bit more grounded, where it's like when murder is happening.
So more closer to real, or even, say, an anime style?
Think more Invincible than Velma. Yeah.
See, I didn't have a problem with the art style. I just had a problem with the writing.
Well, I'm always a big fan of when things are happening in stories that the art style reflect what's happening. Like, for example, Spider-Verse is a good example of this, where Miles' frame count is noticeably lower than every one of the Spider people until he starts learning to become Spider-Man.
I mean, that's just one of the cool perks. That's even with timing. If we look at Encanto, Mirabel's timing is always like a bit off, and that's purposely done.
Mm-hmm.
It shows how you're not in flow with everything until you start matching that timing. Mm-hmm. It's a little cool trick.
It's wonderful. I'm always a big fan of animators having a bit fun with the storytelling. So, as they discover the dead body, everyone is just like, okay, everyone go home. We'll get the police to investigate. And we need to go, like, now. Now, this is where the group is having different reactions. Daphne is noticeably shaken because that was her friend. Velma is a little too excited that there's a murder. Something that we'll touch on in a bit. Norville's too fuming from his conversation with Fred to actually really focus in, like, oh my god, someone died. And Fred is pumped. He is excited. But not the same way Velma's excited. He's excited because he wants to go full on, I'm going to catch the killer, I'm going to be a hero, I'm going to do all of these things, and it's going to be awesome.
He's got to fill that hero quest.
Yep. So that episode ends there. Everyone is established, their motive is established, and the driving plot has been established.
And we introduce everybody within the first episode, and we like them already because they're interesting and not terrible.
So, episode 2 kicks off with Norval waking up to the phone call from Velma. Keep in mind, this is number 7 of phone calls that she has made. So he picks up and he's groggy. He's like, what is it, Velma? She goes, first, how did you know it was me? You're the only one I could think that would call me at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So she's like, you gotta come over to my place now. Please come over. Please, please, please. I need you here right now. Norval takes this the way any guy would take this.
Any guy that gets a 5 a.m. call in the middle of nowhere.
Come over to my house. I need you. So he's over here like, okay, let me just drop by the convenience store and I'll be over there. So Norval comes in and he's very much thinking, okay, your folks are out. It's early in the morning. I guess we're gonna have some fun. To which he takes him to her bedroom. And at this point, he's just like, okay, it's happening. I'm super excited. Let's go. Like he's excited. And she closes the door. Mm-hmm. At this point, I'm playing with the audience of how much it's like, yeah, no, guys, it's totally happening. And then she pulls down her conspiracy board. and I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, where Norval is on the bed and Velma's just like, okay, look, I know it's like really early in the morning and I know this is out of nowhere, but after what we saw yesterday, I have to do this and it has to be you. And he's like, oh, yeah, totally. I understand that. I'll be here and support you. And she's like, good. Okay. So just lay back and let me just pull it down. And he's thinking, oh, okay, cool. And he leans his head back only to hear the sound of the conspiracy board coming down. He's like, so I've been thinking about who the murderer is. To which he's like, you called me here early in the morning for a conspiracy board. Is that weird?
Yes, very.
Why didn't you just send me a picture of your conspiracy board? So
You couldn't see all the pretty lines unless you were in person.
Yes. So Norval points out that it is a little strange that she has a conspiracy board made already when the murder was found out yesterday. And he's also a little upset that he's on the conspiracy board.
Everyone is a suspect.
To which
Everyone.
sorry about that little cut there.
Shenanigans.
So, after he calms down from being on the conspiracy board, this is where I will take a bit of a turn here. To which Norval will be honest with Velma and say, this is not at all what I thought you would call me over here for. Because this is something I'm tired of seeing in media, and I feel that we have reached a point where it's okay for people to just say what they feel. And I will have Norval say, look, I like you. I thought we were going to hook up. To which Velma would immediately realize exactly how all of this looks.
Yeah.
No one's home, and like it plays in her head. No one's in the house. Mm-hmm. We're in my room.
And close the door.
And I said that I needed him.
And when you're a teen, if we're still keeping them teens, you gotta do the one thing on mind when it's 5 a.m. and you're abruptly woken. Well, two things. Who the hell woke me up in something else?
And in Norville, we even point out, just like, didn't you think it was weird I went to the convenience store? And she'll turn around and be like, I thought you were just getting, like, energy drinks or something. I got the energy drinks. I also got these. Oh. So this episode, at least a decent part of it, is Norville saying how much he wants to be with Velma. And Velma reciprocating. Side note, when it comes to Velma's design, we're making her fully black. Like, that's... I don't know why they missed the opportunity to do that, but that's...
Fluffy hair, revolt.
Yes, her hair needed to be fluffy. So, officially, they are a couple. Now, once they got their couple shenanigans done, no, we're not having a scene where they hook up after confessing. Norville will point out, just like, wait, so does that mean that we're not? And she'll turn around and all the sass she can manage and go, we just started dating.
Take her out to dinners.
Like, Norville will respect that. Just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Give a girl a date. Take her out. Make her feel nice.
So, after they go through the conspiracy board, Velma immediately believes that it was Daphne.
I wonder if there's something fueling that.
Something that Norville will point out. And she'll go on that thing of like, no, she's the only one with means, motive, opportunity. It fits.
She also broke down crying.
It's all an act.
Is it?
Yes.
You're sure?
Obviously.
I...
Look, we both know she doesn't have feelings.
Correction. You think she doesn't have feelings. I just think she's a jerk.
So they go and they're going to launch their own mini investigation. Now, Norville knows that the police are going to handle this, so he's going along with her to make sure she doesn't break any laws, and if they do break any laws, they're going to do it together.
Or at least bail her out.
So that is where the episode ends, with them looking at the conspiracy board and going, all right, looks like we have a mystery to solve. Next episode kicks off with Velma getting a visitor. Doorbell rings. And Norville panics.
Because you're not supposed to be here.
Yep. And he doesn't, like, just freak out. Like, she brings her head away from the conspiracy board, and the camera is focused on her, and she's just like, huh, wait. No, they're out of town still. I know that. Who the hell's here at my door? She turns around and Norville's already got 1 foot outside the window. and she looks at him just like, what if it was a burglar? You're just really going to leave me? I thought it was your parents. He's like, look, I'll fight a burglar. I will not fight your dad.
There are so many laws against that.
So they go downstairs and it's Daphne.
Dun, dun, dun.
And she looks like she has not slept in 2 days.
Messy hair.
Yep. And she goes from calm and collective to talking rapidly, explaining how she has nowhere else to go. She really was her only friend. She didn't really think she could talk to anyone else. Folks aren't answering her phone calls. She has no idea where Fred is. And Velma was the only person that she thought of.
Too bad Velma's kind of still hates you guys.
So this is where Norville comes downstairs and Daphne notices Norville. And immediately Daphne turns around. She's like, oh, okay, I understand. You guys were in the middle of something. I'm not going to interrupt. I'm sorry. To which Norville's just like, nah, don't worry. We weren't doing anything yet.
Yeah, that's the key word out of that sentence.
So Norville's just like, what's wrong? Now he's getting death glares from Velma at this point. Of just, why are you being nice? And he points out, they're just like, what? They pull each other to the side and say, okay, what will be her motive for doing this? An alibi? After the murder? To which she's like, good point.
The second alibi?
So at this point, Norville is just like, I don't think she's the killer. And so Norville invites her inside. And this is where the characters are a little dumb. Because after Daphne's been inside, because they used to be friends, Daphne just makes her way to Velma's room. Almost on muscle memory. And she's rambling as she's walking. They're trying to tell her, hey, don't go up there. Everything, like, it's not, like, safe up there. And she's rambling. She just needs somewhere comfortable and familiar. Goes in and sees the conspiracy board. And instead of being excited, she is looking at Velma like, what's wrong with you? Why do you have a conspiracy board? Why am I the prime suspect? And they explain the conspiracy board, and Daphne, after calming down, says, okay, I'm up. To which Norville's just like, okay, look, it was good when it was a duo, a trio, kind of a crowd, and we don't think you'd be good for this. You're still, like, grieving. To which Daphne says, okay, here's a better alternative. I'm going to come with you guys, or I'm going to call the cops because I just found out you guys have a creepy conspiracy board about my friend's murder.
And what does this look like? What does it look like if you just walked in and found a conspiracy board? More like a setup board.
Yeah. So that Daphne joins the group. Now, I am going to stop this rewrite here, and I don't mind continuing this rewrite on an episode. But the reason why we're stopping the rewrite here is because me and Wolfie went down a new alternate universe, which we really like.
The story's convoluted, but...
Little bit. Little twists and turns that end up going all over the place. But we are talking about Dragon Pilot. It's on Netflix.
It is on the Netflix of America if you want to watch it. Despite its chibi art style, it is very mature.
It's the right blend of not safe for work and cute at the same time. And wholesome.
Also, if you are someone who does not like the vor, get used to that because dragons.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of vor. There's a lot of things in here that very much somebody had an idea for something and they wanted it to happen. We get to watch a cargo container get shoved up a dragon's butt. Like, they drew it that way. Like, they never looked squishy ever when they were airplanes, but as soon as the cargo's going in, it's like squish, squish.
You're focused on the squish. He was squirming. I felt sorry for him.
He could take it. He's a big boy.
Not everyone is fine with the thermometer up the butt.
Oh, man. But yeah, Dragon Pilot is actually a really good show. And I actually think it's better if Wolfie talks a little bit more about it because she got a lot more out of the show than I did.
Well, I guess we should do summary because we did just kind of spout off things that people who have not decided to watch yet or haven't heard it, which is the shocking thing, because it is hard to find.
Go watch Dragon Pilot and then come back. Okay? So, like, go now, like, pause right here, go watch it, and then come back because there will be spoilers. And
we don't remember the official names of some of these characters except for the main dragon.
Yeah. Sexy Jaguar is my favorite. So, yeah. Welcome back. That finale, am I right? Like, that was not, I did not expect that at the end. But Wolfie, take the reins.
And for those who have decided to not heed our warning, so we start off with our main protagonist who cannot decide on what she wants to do, so she jots things down and then joins the Air Force. And joining the Air Force, she gets sent to a special hangar to, like, instruct her in a plane. Turns out, there is no plane in it. It's a dragon. The dragon eats her immediately.
It eats her because she has a flip phone.
It likes to eat rare metals. But it eats her. She survived because they managed to get the dragon to birth her. And when I say barf, there's a lot of fluid, especially when you see the other dragons and you're like, why are you constantly covered in slime?
It's my headcanon that Matsutan, which is the dragon's name that our protagonist is with, it is Amakasu is with Matsutan. They are our main pair for the show. It is my belief that Matsutan doesn't know how to do that without it like
Doesn't, but he also did, because none of the other former pilots we see mention it.
when we do see other people leave, like we don't see them get barfed out, but we do see them have towels on.
We also see the old yogurt lady who was the original, not original, but for the story purposes, she fought. There is no fighting in this story.
Yeah, no, there is no dragon. Like, if you want to see dragons, it's not happening. We didn't get it in.
We didn't get aircraft versus dragon fight scene to the death.
We got it in one episode of Game of Thrones, and then that was it. But summary of the show is that this is a world in which dragons exist, and humans know about dragons. And in this verse,
Correction, military knows about dragons. Everybody else doesn't because they have to disguise them as planes.
it's kind of implied that some people know.
I mean, the director knew white lovers and all that, yada yada.
So, in this verse, instead of people hunting down dragons and trying to fight them and doing all these crazy things, they're like,
We worship thee. Let us ride inside you.
well, actually, no, it's actually implied that they were just vibing out together.
Yeah, and then they decided to ride inside the dragons.
Yes.
That was one hell of a trip.
Now, it's never. I'm not sure if I missed this. I'm not sure if I missed this or not, but it's actually never told to us if the. How do I put this? Like, that display that they get where they can see the outside while inside the dragon. Is that like part of the dragon or is that part of the tech?
I think it's the tech because every time we see it, they always have the helmet on. Like, even the first time when she's like, okay, fine, I'll do it, she has the helmet. She doesn't have a suit, she has the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're like, it's a good thing you have the helmet, that's why we can talk to you.
Okay, so like the helmet allows them to kind of see outside the dragon.
Because they have, like, the gear on them that I guess is being a camera for them. So they're also advanced technology now that you think about it.
Very advanced. So
That
it's
projects inside of a dragon.
yep.
Ay, vey.
So as far as technology is concerned, I did like a lot of the way they managed to mix the organic with tech. It was actually a really good blend. But a lot of this is less about dragons and more about, oddly enough, it's a good anime for just both men and women. But it also highlights a lot of the things that women go through, regardless if it's military or just anything.
Like not being taken serious, as we see with our very stubborn dragon rider over here.
Which we finished the whole season 1, and
It's only one season. There is no second season. That stuff is old.
Hope it's a second season soon. But here's the thing about it that doesn't make sense to me. I don't care what you were grown up believing or what you think a woman's role is. If they are the only people that can ride and control the dragon you have on base, like the dragon, it's not like, oh, we have a bunch of dragons on standby. That's it. Like, no, there's one dragon we have. It's in the hangar, and they are the only one that can use it.
And this dragon bonds so hard to her. It's like, I'm stuck in plane mode for you. It's like, buddy, chill.
Yeah, and one of the pilots was really...
Penguin is her nickname.
Penguin is the nickname, and she really wanted to be a pilot for normal aircraft. Unfortunately,
She got pricked by a dragon.
she was chosen by the dragon to be the pilot, and because he wanted to accommodate her so much, he always stays in plane mode.
Now, fun little fact about these dragons, they overheat. They need to fly. If they don't fly, they either got to be bathed in water or they're going to die from overheating. So, remember, they got armors to look like planes. They convert. They're like little transformers. Are they really little transformers if you have organic insides?
I'm trying to think, because there was like the T-Rex transformer,
They're just dragon's version of a T-Rex.
I guess. I mean, like... Yeah, we got the Beast Wars stuff, so like that counts.
Transform mode into plane.
But also, they're not the only dragons that we see. Like, there are other dragons. There's the one god dragon that shows up.
That at first glance we kind of thought it was like supposed to be the catfish. For those that don't know Japanese lore, there's belief that there's a giant catfish that is submerged under an island, and anytime it's trying to escape, that's the reason we get tsunamis and earthquakes. So this giant, and when we say giant, this guy can make tsunamis, freaking tornadoes, hurricanes. Like, it is a downpour when we were seeing near the final
The
episode.
best scale we have for this is when we go inside of the dragon. The tallest dragon we have comes out to maybe the tip of its rib cage,
Not even.
of one of its ribs, of the
Not
tip
even.
of one of its ribs.
Not even.
Go on.
Like, when you see them all inside, it's pretty much its own ecosystem in
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
minus living creatures, because it's eating people.
Now,
And I know that sounds 10 times cooler than it is, but it's not.
it's not,
It's sad, actually.
but it's not just like, showing workplace stuff, but also shows what it's like to be a young woman in love, and like how like that's seen and treated. And there's so much there that is actually really good. The only downside I would really say about the show is the fact that there are so many different plot points that they introduce, some that they hop back and forth between going and focusing on, that it does feel a little random and weird.
It feels rushed. Like, so there's a love plot, because the director basically is like, oh, they need to fall in love and then have their hearts breaking so they don't, like, hurt their dragons, because we find out when you fall in love, your dragons feel the pain when you're inside of them and they freak out.
Something that's never really explained why it hurts them. We don't
they just
really
say it
get
hurts.
we don't get the explanation.
No, and then the dumbest thing is when we see the old lady and she just basically is reminiscing of the past. I'm like, this is not the time to go down memory lane.
Yeah, no, she picked the worst time to like have a flashback to the woman she loved. It felt really forced that she was having that moment at that time.
If basically, you can understand why, because maybe she's having a bit of a panic attack herself, so to speak, because this is I lost my lover here.
Mm-hmm.
You took me away from my lover. This feels weird. But at the same time, you're about to go into the belly of the beast, do this ancient ritual, sacrifice a high schooler, and leave. That is all you had to do.
Yeah, so
Keep it under lock for like 3 hours. You could do it.
also they do not train them properly, like at all. Like throughout the course of this, there is no point in which I could really say they were trained to handle the finale.
They weren't trained for weather.
But with that being said, it's a really good anime to watch, and it was a really fun experience to go through.
We have an island episode. They go castaway.
Yeah, no. Our main protagonist here, she went a little castaway too soon. Like, she was there for 3 days, and she was already talking to a disembodied head.
It's a toy.
But, like, 3 days. And she went full castaway on us.
But if you can get used to cute art style and a weird story, it's a good watch. It's really good. So it looks like we're running out of time, though.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a blast to be back, and expect more consistent episodes.
Maybe. We don't know when our jobs are going to pull us away again.
Expect more!
We're trying. Higher up is weird.
Yeah. Anyway, we look forward to you all having a wonderful night's rest, and we hope that our wacky adventures allows you to be inspired for your wacky adventures. May the moon guide you, and have a good night, everybody.